So with this, we take to the next topic, which is customer experience for business to business by our Venkataramanan and Santosh Sreedhar. Okay, this is an excellent topic and which is very relevant for the supply chain management, because always supply chain management people not worried about customer experience. Okay, so it is very, very critical for every supply chain professional to understand customer experience management. So I welcome Santosh and Venkataramanan for taking up your time and want to share the best practices. So please introduce yourself and then just go ahead with your presentations. Santosh.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thanks for inviting us for this presentation. Mostly, Venkat would be leading this presentation, but I'll be here. Just as a quick introduction of me, I'm a partner with Avalon Consulting. We are a strategy and management consulting firm. Been in business for more than 30 years. My own experience with the firm and in consulting has been for more than 18 years now. And overall, I come with about 24 years experience, including about 6 years experience in marketing and sales with a couple of FMCG companies. These include Amul and Kevin Care. So that was early in my career. For the last 18 years, I've been in consulting. So I'm my colleague Venkat, who's really the CX expert within Avalon. I will let him introduce himself and lead the rest of the conversation.
Good morning. I'm Venkat. I'll briefly introduce myself. I'm carrying over 20 years plus corporate practitioner experience in the fields of marketing, then customer service or customer experience, followed by consulting project delivery in the last 3+ years. I've worked across industries ranging from FMCG to telecom and further into retail. Worked with brands like Amul, GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, Airtel, Vodafone, and Spencer's Retail. And for the last 3 years, I'm delivering consulting projects primarily related to customer experience, growth strategy, GTM, business transformation, and performance improvement. So that's in a nutshell. So today's topic is customer experience management for in the B2B context. How do we manage customer experience in the B2B context? So Santosh has spoken about us. So I'll skip this slide and move to the agenda. So we're going to cover a little bit about basic understanding about customer experience, or CX, the way it is called. What does it take to deliver world-class customer experience? Avalon's customer experience excellence framework for B2C, and then how we are adapting that to B2B. Differences in the way customer experience is managed in the B2C and B2B context. We have a proprietary model called Process-Oriented Satisfaction Assessment Technique, POSAT, which we will briefly talk about as far as B2B customer experience management is concerned. And we'll also talk about certain learnings from our B2B customer experience engagements we had at Avalon, followed by a round of question and answers. So to begin with, I'll start with what is customer experience. I'll go through certain definitions which are there. Say what the first one is with Gartner. Customer experience is the customer's perceptions and related feelings caused by one-off and cumulative effect of interactions with a supplier's employees, systems, channels, or products. And there's one more from Oracle. Customer experience refers to how a business engages with its customers at every point of their buying journey, from marketing to sales to customer service and everywhere in between. In large part, it's a sum total of all interactions a customer has with your brand. And customer experience is the sum of all experiences a person or company has when interacting with a business, its products or services. So we have seen three types of definitions. So some learnings from these. So customer experience is perception driven. It's driven by personal experience and interactions. So it's different from brand perception. I might not have an experience or an interaction with a particular brand, but I'm still aware about that brand and I'm already having a perception about that brand. So brand perception is different from customer experience. So customer experience is a sum total of all experiences and interactions. Experience can be related to pre-purchase, during the purchase of the product or service, usage of the product or service, or even post-purchase or usage. And it's relevant for both products and services. And it covers all experience with the supplier, including product, service, employees, digital interactions, channel partners, service partners, etc. This is just to sum it up. How is excellence in customer experience, or we call it CXX, how is it delivered? It's primarily through excellence in customer journeys. And it's enabled by processes, people, and technology. So this is a kind of a high-level framework in terms of how we can deliver customer experience excellence. And when it comes to customer experience, we have a certain measures, or measurement is important. If we can't measure it, we can't improve it, right? I'll briefly talk about certain metrics or measures. Starts with an NPS, which is fairly accepted these days, which is how much of promoters are there vis-a-vis detractors for the particular brand or service. And when do we use it? To measure customer loyalty and advocacy for the brand. Then there is a customer effort score. So the logic here is, more the customer takes efforts to reach out to the product or the brand or the client, it's more painful, the experiences. So we have to always ensure that the customer effort to reach out is as minimal as possible. Customer satisfaction score is something which all of us are aware about. It assesses the satisfaction levels. Churn rate is an end result. If we are not able to deliver optimal customer experience or superior customer experience, probably some of the customers will churn out. Referral rate is something which is more an advocacy kind of a measure, where we can track the loyalty and advocacy. Unique users are also used as leading indicators these days, where it measures the actual customer base a particular brand or service has. And the number of unique users, when it changes, when it increases or decreases, it has a bearing on the overall evaluation of the company as well. Average resolution time is a proper service metric in which if there is an issue or a query or a request or a complaint raised by a customer, how soon are we able to resolve it? First contact resolution is a very important metric. If any customer is reaching out to us to seek any query, to get answers to his query or request or complaint, are we able to resolve it in the first go? So that's an important service metric. Apart from that, there is a transaction net promoter score, which evaluates NPS for each transaction or interaction with customers. And there are also simple metrics like SLA adherence. This is just to sum up the metrics customer experience measures in a nutshell. I spoke about customer journey and how it's important to use the customer journey to deliver superior customer experience. So this is a typical generic customer journey, which starts with a need assessment. Then it goes into the awareness stage, then the evaluation stage of the product, where the product or the brand is evaluated by the customer, and then a purchase decision is made. So all these stages are part of pre-purchase. Then there's a purchase stage in which the product or brand is bought. There is a post-purchase stage. Then it leads to loyalty and advocacy. So this is a very generic kind of a journey which is applicable for any kind of product or service, be it in the B2C context or in the B2B context. We'll see how this journey translates into the B2B context later. Okay, before we go further, I want to get your focus on how an organization functions. It's not that customer experience is something to be delivered by a department called as customer service or any other similar department. It's actually all departments which are equally important to deliver customer experience. We always see the frontline departments like retail, sales and marketing, e-commerce, and customer care in terms of delivering customer experience. That's not the case. Actually, there are many other departments which have equal and pivotal roles to play, including finance, supply chain, R&D, human resources, procurement, quality assurance. This actually gives a very comprehensive picture about how customer experience needs to be managed at an organization. Quickly, I'll go through a framework which we use at Avalon Consulting in terms of when we have customer experience engagements with clients. We use this kind of a framework where delivering superior customer experience is at the center. That's the objective. We have 4 pillars: strategy and planning, operations, measurement, and insights and continuous improvement. These are the 4 pillars in which we work with clients. Very short elaboration I'll do of what these pillars constitute. The strategy and planning pillar talks about vision and goal setting, customer journey mapping and maturity assessment, a channel mix assessment, a customer experience strategy design, and a program design. A customer experience program can be any program, like a very simple program like trade voice of customer program, VOC, trade VOC program, where we only hear and listen to the VOC coming in from our channel partners and trade partners. So it's as simple as, so these kind of programs can be designed in a very structured manner. And all that is part of the first pillar. When it comes to operations, we do partner with clients on process designing, process development, leveraging technology and implementing governance systems to manage customer experience, and also driving cultural change. When it comes to measurement of customer experience, as I pointed out, there are many such satisfaction measures which we use and implement with clients. And there are internal customer experience metrics also for processes and internal KPIs which can be looked at. The last pillar, which is insights and continuous improvement, is actually most important, where we try to collate insights. It's just not feedback coming in from structured programs. It's all about analyzing that feedback and compiling it as actionable insights. And in any customer experience program, root cause analysis forms it's pivotal to get to understand issues and improve on processes, technology, and stuff like that. And it's a continuous cycle. That's why it's a continuous improvement is imbibed into this pillar. Okay. And there are 3 enablers while we drive this. First one is on governance. how robust we have in terms of governance around customer experience management, be it metrics, be it processes, or even governance around the programs which I was speaking about, like a VOC program. The second pillar is about people and culture, how we are building a customer-centric organization and how every department is contributing equally in terms of building this. In technology, these days, without technology integration into processes and the way people are using people are leveraging technology, it's actually not possible to enhance customer experience without leveraging technology. This is in just a brief capsule framework which we use in customer experience. Okay. Now this slide is speaking about how the context between B2C and B2B are slightly different. This is a very generic comparison. There might be specific inputs coming in for certain customers, which we acknowledge, but this comparison is made at a generic level, like number of customers. In B2C, obviously there are many customers, whereas in B2B there is a limited set of customers. So each customer becomes critical to the success of a B2B player. And there is focus on individual accounts, which is very high in B2B context, whereas each individual customer might not be getting that kind of focus when it comes to a B2C context. Lead time and cost for customer acquisition is low in a B2C context, and it's fairly high in a B2B context. Complexity in the journey is, while it's medium for B2C, the complexity levels are much higher in B2B. I'll also talk about B2B typical journey in the next couple of slides. The number of stakeholders are also high in a B2B context, and the role of channel partners might play that will be high in terms of in a B2C context, whereas channel partners play an important role in B2B. And the need for customization or tailored offerings is actually very high, or even the need to differentiate the product or service is pretty high in a B2B context. Okay. So this slide talks about a certain tool developed by Avalon. It's called POSAT, Process Oriented Satisfaction Assessment Technique. So here it's a comprehensive customer satisfaction assessment across the stages of the customer journey. So in the B2B context, typically we have these stages like pre-RFQ or business development stage. Then it has then the RFQ response stage where the proposal is sent. Then there's an RFQ evaluation stage where proposals are evaluated and suppliers are called for discussions or negotiations. Then the pricing negotiations happen. Then the product is developed or even customized. The service or product is customized for this particular customer. Then the actual delivery happens. Quality of the product being delivered or the service or consistency in delivery is important. And overall, the relationship management is what matters as far as the relationship needs continuity in this. So this tool, we do a stage-wise assessment of customer satisfaction in each stage. There are weightages for key attributes within each stage. So within each stage, there are multiple attributes which are looked into. I'll try to present it in a more detailed manner in the next couple of slides. And the final customer satisfaction index is arrived for each stage and for each customer as well. And apart from this, this tool also provides avenues to do competition benchmarking and provides insights in terms of what customers are talking about as far as competition products are concerned. In the next couple of slides, I'll briefly talk about this satisfaction assessment. It starts with identification of processes, then assessment of customers' requirement and problem areas. I'll take slightly more time here since these are slightly heavy information slides. Then the next set of slides will be lighter. So after the assessment of customers' requirement and problem areas are done, then what is the satisfaction level being measured? That's what we look at. What is the loyalty level among customers? Then relative positions, position vis-a-vis competitors. And basis the satisfaction feedback and the loyalty feedback coming in from customers, we can plan our initiatives and corrective actions, and then monitor those corrective actions, which will lead back into, again, a kind of a repetitive assessment. So that's the overall approach as far as POSAT is concerned. And loyalty profiling is also done through loyalty indices. Then there is NPS, which is also getting calculated, and there is something called as a ease of collaboration score. So ease of collaboration or ease of customer making that effort to collaborate with the supplier, that is also assessed in this tool. So this is more elaborate in terms of at each stage what is done to assess customer satisfaction in the B2B context. So these are the attributes which I am talking about. So this is an illustration for an automotive parts manufacturer, where each attribute in terms of what are the attributes to evaluate from a customer satisfaction perspective, these are given at each stage of the customer journey. So for example, the pre-RFQ stage, there are 4 attributes given there: level of proactive engagement, ability to offer advanced technology solutions, responsiveness to pre-inquiry, technical knowledge of personnel, stuff like that. Then when it comes to stage 6, delivery, attributes like on time and in full delivery, ability to adjust to delivery schedule changes. So a comprehensive list of attributes is first listed, and the client approves these attributes. Then we also ask the client to score these attributes on importance. So importance of each attribute might not be the same. Each attribute will have different importance levels. So that is also assessed before we actually compute a customer satisfaction score for each stage in the journey and for each customer. The slide, the attributes are more detailed here for all the 8 stages. So this is the how we actually attribute importance of each attribute, and we seek that from respondents or customers, and we categorize them on an exponential scale. The rating scale is also given below, right from limited importance to extremely important. I was also talking about the ease of collaboration score, which is nothing but how easily customers are able to transact or work with the supplier. So here, this is also computed as part of the POSAT assessment. And how it is computed is given here. And it's a scale of 6-point scale given here. NPS is also computed, which is a net difference of the number of promoters a particular supplier has in terms of customer respondents, and it's a net off of detractors. So if there are 50 promoters and 30 detractors, 30% rather, so the net promoter score will be 50 minus 30, which is 20%. So the balance 20% are passives. Passives are typically not accounted for in this calculation. Any score above 0 in NPS is a good score, actually. Since most of the customers tend to rate suppliers or brands primarily as 7 or 8, which is the passive segment. Then the POSAT scores are charted on a customer satisfaction index grid. And this is how the results will look like for a particular, say, customer, how the customer has rated the supplier in terms of various parameters, various attributes. And in each stage of the customer journey, how are the scores looking like? And there's an overall score also, and this can be compared with the previous year scores as well, so that the trend is known for each attribute, for each stage, and at an overall level, how is the improvement happening or not happening in terms of satisfaction scores. You can see the scores for each stage as well. And POSAT also ascertains customer loyalty factors as determined by propensity to repurchase and collaborate for new projects. So on a 2-axis scale, which is satisfaction and loyalty, there are 4 types of customer segments which we can look at after the loyalty and customer satisfaction measurement is done. So you'll find that customers who are extremely loyal and high on satisfaction are the loyalists. So there we need to improve relationships by partnering with them and focusing on their customers. Whereas satisfaction is high but loyalty is not there, we need to probably look at reducing cost to serve in order to pass on the benefits. Hostages is interesting, where the satisfaction levels are low but the loyalty has been high. So here we have to urgently look at how we can increase satisfaction levels. So this is the typical analysis we do post the measurement of satisfaction and loyalty scores. We also do a qualitative analysis in terms of analyzing the qualitative comments coming in from each respondent. So for a particular customer, it's not just one respondent. There might be multiple respondents across departments for each customer. So if there are 10 respondents ranging from supply chain to R&D or even quality departments, all the 10 responses will be captured and scores will be attributed for each attribute given there. Apart from that, qualitative comments which are salient in nature, that will come as part of the word cloud analysis as shown here. And bigger the size of the font used here in this word cloud, it means that more number of respondents are speaking about that keyword. So to sum it up, we've had 200 plus POSAT engagements so far across B2B sector. So these are some of the learnings which we wanted to share with all of us. First is the CEO's involvement. The top management involvement is critical. Without the CEO getting involved in this, we found that it's not easy to drive customer experience in B2B organizations. So his or her buy-in into the whole process, methodology, and the way improvements need to be carried out is critical. And as I said, each customer for a B2B supplier is not one cohesive unit. There are various teams and departments within each customer. So there has to be a one-on-one mapping which needs to be done between the supplier organization and the customer organization, so that we get optimal results. And there is a working relationship at all levels and with all departments. And unlike B2C, there is need to focus on strong infrastructure, people, and processes in B2B organizations. And it's even more important to transparently share that information with the customer. So whatever we have, we need to share that transparently. Many times, this becomes an important discussion point where transparent sharing of, say, internal processes or infrastructure, if it's not done properly, it leads to lack of trust kind of issues. So channel partners are mercenaries, and so they have an important role to play as far as customer experience delivery is concerned. But they don't manage client relationships primarily. So we have to step in as a supplier organization in terms of managing that relationship. We can't leave it to channel partners. And it's even more important when we already have a working relationship with a particular customer. It's important to know the customer's customer. So, and in terms of, and we have to just keep ourselves updated on trends which is happening in the market, and what is the customer's customer feedback, and what are the other alternatives which the customer is looking at, what kind of competition is there in the market. So we need to keep abreast about all this while we deal with our customers. And the most important is kept at the last, which is this whole relationship between the supplier and the customer is all about trust. So customer experience, we can manage and we can improve outcomes, definitely, but more importantly, it leads to building trust. And at any point of time, this cannot be broken. So I'm done with the presentation. So we are open to take questions. I also invite Santosh to pitch in wherever.
Santosh, you would like to add few words before we take up some questions?
Yeah, actually, Venkat has already mentioned, but just go to the previous slide, Venkat. I just wanted to highlight one or two points here. You see, overall, as Venkat also has been emphasizing, the B2B business is very different from B2C. The point I want to really emphasize is on the third point. You see, the lot about the supplier. They will also come to your supplier location for audit. They may also have some audit requirements for their customers which they have to fulfill. There may be also things like now ESG and sustainability is becoming an issue. So they would also want to know whether you are meeting those requirements and stuff like that. So you cannot just fool the customer for long. You have to have very good systems and processes internally to be able to be a long-term supplier to your customer. Otherwise, transactionally, they will deal with you, but you will never have that long-term relationship, which is very important in B2B sectors. So don't think of customer experience as something outside of the organization. The organization itself is part of the customer experience that will have. So from every part of the organization, whether it is manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, sourcing, you have to have the right kind of capabilities and people and processes to be able to be long-term suppliers. And you see all the top B2B companies that have grown well, they are the ones who are very well, professionally managed. They know uh, uh, how to deal with customers at different levels. There are relationships that are mapped at different levels, and that's really the next level of CX. So CX is not different from the organization's working itself. The organization's working itself is very, very CX focused when it comes to B2B sector companies. And the last point on trust, this is like a marriage because your dependence on the customer is also high, and customers' dependence also on you is high when it comes to B2B sectors. Usually they deal with only a few suppliers, and you also have only a few customers to go after. So it's very important that you build that trust and always seem to be a partner who wants the customer to succeed also. And that's why it's important for you to understand what is happening in the end-use industries where your customer is supplying to, and upgrade yourself, come up with new ideas, which will help you in becoming a stronger partner to your customer.
Perfect. So can we take up some questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are talking about the customer experience. There are a couple of questions. First is this customer experience like POSAT, the methodology, what you're talking about, is it applicable all kind of customers, including manufacturing, 3PL, logistics, operations?
Yes.
Okay. So because, in supply chain, 3PL operators are very, very competitive, and customer is more demanding. What happens something wrong if customer is expecting more than what he should ask for? So in that situations, what is it POSAT will do? So you are delivering it, but customer is more demanding, which is something. So how do you highlight that point?
Customer is always demanding. So right. So that is always an expected one. They're more demanding on the services and want to pay lesser every year. So in B2B, the real success is also about being able to manage those relationships, understand what is the kind of value of the service that you're offering, and how do you make your services in such a way that you are able to meet the ultimate goal of the client and yours should be aligned. Okay. So many times what happens is that in the POSAT model, what happens is we take the feedback across different stages of the customer interaction that is happening. And you will realize that what you have been hearing from the customer may be only what is a translated language that the purchase guy is saying, if you're only dealing with them. But when you go to an R&D, you may find that, or product development team, you may find that their requirement is different. When you go to a manufacturing guy, you may understand that their requirement is different. So if you are able to understand the organization well and the requirement within your client's organization well, then you may be able to bring up or develop your value proposition in such a way that you are able to counter all that additional demand that is coming, or even meet them for getting it, strengthening your relationship, or even getting a premium.
Yeah, got you. Deep, we have Lok asking some question. Can you? Yeah, Lok, I think your voice is unmute now. You can ask.
Hello, Lok.
Yeah.
Good to see you here.
Thanks. Nice, Santosh. I really appreciate this objective what we call scoring of customer satisfaction. I think one use case, I would say, in most of these ERP systems, when it comes to customer service, delivery service levels, is most people are preoccupied with the idea of how to prioritize the deliveries, especially in the event of shortages, right? And they also use the word like which customer is more profitable to serve, because we have only limited resources or goods, right? I think that in this kind of scoring, I think will really help, improve the what is called the customer priority in the customer master. I mean, this is what CRM systems were all about in the olden times. I don't know how far they have moved. I don't work on CRM specifically, but we borrow those parameters in the system to run some programs. And I think half the world in customer service runs these programs to prioritize customer deliveries. So it's a good, I'm not asking a specific question, but probably there is a way for you to help build a nice program to make that customer scoring more objective or rather more refined, rather than simply calling this customer is more important than this customer, based on recency, loyalty, profitability, his payment terms, how prompt he was to pay, and those kind of things. So maybe one of these days, if you get an opportunity to work with a tech firm, you can always advise that we will make this customer delivery priority, I guess, much more comprehensive. I guess that's the need, because I worked in certain projects where this is always a what do you call a half-baked idea. Yeah. So
A point taken, Lok.
yeah.
And there might be a need to even look at lifetime value of customers and probably look at kind of an internal stack ranking.
So a real example here is Procter and Gamble. They never want to supply their Gillette razors to everybody, because there is always a limit on customer ask maybe for 10,000 blades, but they will only ship 400, and they will see based on certain score how much should we ship deliver to this customer. So and they have very complex programs running behind. We call it back order processing, prioritizing those orders, sorting, allocation, blocking, reservation. These are the concepts used. But again, at the core is all the rating of the customer. Yeah?
Great. Thanks for that.
Perfect. Thank you, Lok. Thank you. Typically, this CX assessment, how long it will take, Venkataramanan?
It is a typical 6 to 8 week engagement. Usually the challenge here is in scheduling the meetings with the customer. It's not like a automated process. Typically, a lot of the NPS scoring for customer B2C businesses is done digitally. Like you just send an email or you send a link and they do it. Here is a very involved process, because you really need to get this qualitative feedback from very senior people who are dealing with you. So scheduling those interviews become a bit of a challenge, and plus you cannot just send any researcher. Like B2C research can be done by anyone, right? It's like a 400 rupees, 500 rupees per response kind of a rate. That will not work here. Here is really, you cannot send somebody who is not knowledgeable about a business to meet a very senior customer and to speak about it. So that's the challenge really. Is more of a scheduling challenge, and usually the clients are very involved in helping us in scheduling these meetings. But typically that's and it doesn't just end with the scoring. It also leads to what are the specific improvement areas and the timeline set for that, so that when it comes to a next review, you know that you have improved on certain specific areas.
So there is one question from, I think, Krishnan. Yeah, so you raise your hand. So you can just unmute and ask, Krishnan, if you would like.
Yeah, good morning.
Actually,
this is related to the customer satisfaction or customers' demand from time to time. Sometimes it may be or keep on increasing demands. What my experience says is that customer doesn't demand on the basic SOPs or SLAs. They don't wish to change. But what actually comes as a demand is when they are in a bottleneck. So at that time, they bring up some demand. It may be a very trivial one, but if I am going to say that, no, I am not able to meet that demand. So that is where that relationship building happening. So if I am able to go an extra mile to meet that demand, even if it is a very small one, that builds up the relationship.
Right.
So I think basically, as a basic SLA is there, it will need a lot of discussion. But these small outside demands are the ones to be met. That will take us that extra mile.
Yeah. Good question, Krishnan, because you are in hardcore 3PL operations. Okay, so we can understand your pain. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, great. If you don't have any questions, any final thought how this can be done for supply chain organizations like logistics, manufacturing, and the 3PL operations? The final thoughts, Santosh?
Yeah, so in a way, the 3PL operators are an important service between the seller and the buyer, right? So I would see the 3PL operators as an extension of the seller. So if you work closely with your customer, who is going to the payer, the one who pays you is typically the seller, and you really have to understand their business and what their customers requirement is. And that was one of the points that Venkat had also mentioned in the learnings, that you have to know your customer's customer. The requirement, let's say, of a chemical industry is very different from an automotive industry, is very different from an engineering industry. So if you're a 3PL player, you're going to be working across these different B2B industries. And you cannot have a one solution fit all for each of these industries. So you have to really understand your customer's customer and tailor your requirement to delivering superior customer experience for your client. That's really where your success will be.
Fantastic. Excellent session, Santosh. Venkataramanan, thank you very much. It was really a very important session for supply chain guys, because customer experience is something which is always they look for inherently. Okay, so thank you for your.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
And we look forward more, maybe in coming sessions, in a detailed case study we would like to hear from you. Okay, so thank you, Santosh, thank you, Venkataramanan, thank you very much for joining us. Okay.